let's start off breaking down this week 4 card with the Bears and the Rams. The Bears are a 3-point home favorite. It's a low total of 41. And we've gone over a number of reasons that we like Chicago this week. We're going to go over them here once again for those that missed it. But Sam, let's start with this. Is it more pro Chicago that you end up on the Chicago side? We prefer 2.5, but now we're sitting 3. Is it more pro Chicago, or is it just an anti-Rams stance? We know how beat up that team is. We know how awful the defense has played, and it is after their divisional all-out effort against the Niners.
It's more of a Rams fade and
Mm-hmm.
disbelief in the Rams, but certainly a combination of the two. And this is probably the best and most comfortable Caleb Williams will feel coming into a game. You know, that opener at home against Tennessee, there's a lot of butterflies. It's his first game in the NFL. The nerves clearly click in. They're down 17-0. And guess what? He didn't bring them back, but the team rallied back behind the blocked punt and the turnover and the pick six. So I think that first game in the NFL has to be thrown in the garbage. He played okay against Houston. He was good last week. He had 300-plus yards, had multiple touchdowns. He has gotten better. He's not at the level of Jaden Daniels yet, and I think it's dumb to compare rookie quarterbacks after 3 games. But Caleb has gotten better from game 1 to game 3, and now he's at home facing a horrendous Rams defense. I have the updated rankings for you at Sumer Sports, by the way. So Let me just give you both teams. All right, so right now in total defense, advanced metrics, the Bears are number 2 in the NFL. The only defense that's better than the Bears right now, you guessed it, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Steelers 1, Bears 2, Vikings 3. Those are the 3 best defenses in the NFL in terms of EPA per play from our friends at Sumer Sports. Would you like to guess, Joe, where the Rams are out of 32 teams in the NFL in defense?
Oh, I already know where they're at. All these metrics, Rams, you know exactly where to look. But go ahead, share with the class.
31 out of 32. Yeah. The only defense that's worse right now is the Washington Commanders. And we'll talk about Washington in a little bit. The Commanders, you never see this in metrics. The Commanders are 32 out of 32 in defense, and the Commanders are number 2 in offense. So really good offense, horrible defense. But back to your question, it is a fade of a Rams team that never replaced Aaron Donald, that has an awful secondary, and then on the offensive side of the ball, you have no Kupp and no Nacua. The only reason that people want to bet the Rams here is because of McVay. Give me another reason. Give me another reason besides McVay against Eberflus. I dare somebody to give me a solid reason that isn't related to the coaching comparison of Matt Eberflus and Sean McVay. There is no other tactical reason on that field that you can tell me you like the Rams over the Bears if you take the coaches out of it. So you look at a Bears number, open 1.5, got immediately bet to 2, 2.5, now it's 3. I don't love laying 3. That's why I put the Bears in a money line parlay with the Cowboys. But the sharpest people that I know, as I told you yesterday, took the Bears -1.5, -2, -2.5. I think it's a great play. Schedule-wise, this is maybe a home run spot for Chicago.
The only other argument that they would come up with, and there are sharper groups that are on the Rams too, but yes, you're right. The sharpest are on the Bears, and there's more on the Bears. Better quarterback is on LA right now, is what they would say. Until proven otherwise, they would say that he is the better quarterback, and then we can get into the weapons, which, by the way, big news for the Bears, Keenan Allen looks like he's going to be returning. He's been practicing all week. He practiced Wednesday. He was limited on Thursday as well. Veteran like him, that kind of tells me that he's going to be on the field this weekend. Another interesting note with that Bears offense, and I think it's going to be a mismatch. Like, you want to see more, but we know that we saw signs of life last week, right, against the Colts from this Bears offense. So maybe that continues in a plus matchup for them. They're already out there. They gave them a lot of money in free agency. They're already putting it out there. We're making changes in the backfield. DeAndre Swift is not getting it done. And all the film out there is proving like he's got no vision. The teammates don't trust him. People are betting under on Swift. Even George put a prop out there. His prop dropped in a day from upper 40s to mid 30s. So right now, Swift's numbers at 35.5. Roschon Johnson, the guy expected to get the rock much more. His is a little short of Swift. He's at 33.5. If you're interested in that, if you're believing what the Bears are saying, I'm on board with everything that you said. Pro Bears. I do like the Bears in this spot. And the biggest reason is on Monday morning, I sat here like, okay, next week it's an automatic fade the Rams spot. And I wasn't even looking ahead to the schedule. And you're like, yeah, it's the Bears. I'm like, well, they're the opponent. I'm going against the Rams. But there are also some reasons here to back Chicago. So both of us on the Bears, -3. Coming back from the break, you heard from Anthony Richardson, Colts QB, the quarterback that has the most interceptions in all of football right now with 6 of them. And week 3's performance, worse than the NFL as far as completion percentage above expectation. He was dead last. And if you look at that category, Fields this year has been among the best. He just hasn't been making those big mistakes. So on one side, you have Richardson making a lot of foolish mistakes, turning the ball over. And on the other side, the reason that the Steelers are winning, one of them, is because Fields has not been turning the ball over for the most part. That's something that was a big-time problem for him in Chicago. And we've got Pittsburgh -1.5. Compared to the look ahead, this is a flipping of the favorite. It was Indy -1. Now we're sitting Pittsburgh -1.5. Low total, of course, because it's a Steelers game. It's only 40, Sammy.
So the two numbers that are worth discussing are Anthony Richardson has 6 interceptions and Justin Fields has 1.
Mm-hmm.
That tells a very, very easy story. Carelessness on the offensive side for Indianapolis, protection for Pittsburgh. Now, I'm willing to find out here because I think this is that game that Indianapolis could go up early and then put Fields maybe behind the 8 ball. So I'm on the side of the Colts. And I said yesterday, I think this is a perfect teaser leg. If you want to take Indianapolis from +1.5 to +7.5 at home with a game totaled 40, probably a good leg. You know, we're never going to sit here and say this is a lock or this is a definite play. This is certainly going to win. More times than not, if you're making the Pittsburgh Steelers with Justin Fields a 7.5-point favorite and a teaser, the dog is going to come home. I like Indy in the spot. Their offensive line is very, very good, and I shouldn't say it should be able to negate that Steelers defensive front. I mean, this is strength on strength. You have the NFL's best offensive line against the NFL's best defense. Who's going to come out in the wash? I think the Colts get it done. Richardson plays a good game. He's a very volatile guy. You're going to see a lot of games this year where he's going to have, no interceptions. You're going to see a lot of games where he has 2 interceptions. He's going to be very up and down. I'm willing to gamble on the upside this week and take the 1.5, but also put the Colts in a teaser up to 7.5.
I understand where you're coming from. With you on the Colts teaser, I just have a tough time getting there with an inexperienced quarterback that's been turning the ball over against the Steelers defense that also turns the ball over on their side of the ball. So that's why I just can't get there with the Colts. But yeah, there are a lot of people that agree with you. They are there with the Colts, but the Colts at home getting +7.5 in a very low scoring game we expect. That teaser makes a lot of sense. And there are a lot of them where we're teasing up. We're talking about taking the dog through the 3, through the 7, low total game. This checks all the boxes. So as long as we don't have Richardson, with like a 3 interception game or something like that, yeah, I can't get there at the Colts plus the short number, but I absolutely can get there with you on the teaser. And we also have Jacksonville, Houston, down to 6. We're at 6 now. The other day we were talking about 7. We couldn't get Mr. Jaguars, Paul Aspen, to get on board at +7. And now we're sitting here at 6 total. 45 and the hook for this divisional matchup.
There it is right there on the screen. I had
Post it.
I had to write Andy's. Andy had Dallas first half, so I had to write that on the note too. But there it was, and there it went. Jacksonville +7, long gone in the market. People are going to hate this bet, and that's
Yeah.
okay. I love being on those sides. Everybody wrote the Panthers off last week. Oh, yeah, Panthers this, Panthers that, barf, barf, barf. Panthers are up 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. The bell is not here yet, so I can't ring the bell. I believe the Amazon driver will be here at 10 o'clock Eastern, so I will have the bell going forward.
Good.
Yeah, the bell that
Okay.
we're supposed to ring when people say you can't do this in the NFL or this can't happen. The bell is almost here, and I'm going to ring it a lot this season. But most people are going to tell you you can't bet Jacksonville here. It's a divisional game. Jacksonville obviously knows what Houston's going to do. You had brought up earlier in the week how well Lawrence played against Houston in the last meeting. And, you and I last week, when we did our power rankings, where did we have Houston on the overvalue chart? Right at the top, number 1. We said also yesterday, eventually these favorites are going to win and win big. Didn't happen last night. Dallas probably should have won that game by 2 touchdowns, but Dallas didn't do that. I still want to see it with Houston. I think their defense is very overrated, and Jacksonville is going to move the ball here. People don't want to hear that. I didn't even get 7. I took 6.5. I missed the 7.
Yeah.
I didn't even follow my own Post-it note, Joe.
It's on. Yeah, it's right in front of your face. You're staring at. It was on your head, and it was sitting in front of your face, and we didn't get to +7. But you know what? It's a better number than what's available right now. Sitting at 6. And the biggest reason why is, yes, there is sharp money on the Jaguars, but it comes out Tank Dell unlikely to play. Nico Collins out of nowhere was placed in the injury report yesterday, and they put him down as limited. If they are missing Nico Collins, or if it's a hobbled Nico Collins, game changer. This guy has been playing like a top 5 receiver in the game this year. So, yeah, all of a sudden now people are, I'm going to go with the Jaguars. I'm going to go with the head coach that is most likely to be fired. He's a favorite right now, runaway favorite, Doug Peterson is. So I know they were supposed to have a desperate all-out effort on Monday night. We did not see it in the Bills game. That's a tough matchup. They know this team a little bit more. Yeah, it's another tough matchup, another tough one on the road, brutal schedule spot, short week, get all that, but it's a gotta have it, and they know this team, and they've had some success against this team. I certainly expect it to be a one-score game. So we are on the Jaguars in this one. There's
right? Now it's a we thing, huh? It's a we thing now, huh?
When we said money live dogs, who brought up the Jaguars? I did. That was the only one.
Let me tell you real quick. In the 3 games this year, the Jags lost by 3. The Jags lost by 5, and then they get pounded by a very, very good Bills team that everybody watched, 47-10. But they fought in week 1, and they fought in week 2. I think it's lazy to think they're just going to lie down and die in this game against Houston. They hate Houston. These players despise Houston. They're going to fight in this game. I believe it.
And you would think the Jaguars are going to try to find ways to create pressure, because that was the reason that Stroud had so many struggles last week against the Vikings front, in which he had 2 interceptions. Flores blitzed 43% of the time, and he was certainly having issues. And now he's missing Dell, and there's a chance he's missing Collins. So there could be some opportunities there with props with other receivers, but man, that seems to be the big concern. Can this go back up? Can it go back to 6.5 or 7? I mean, anything can happen, but if Collins is out, this thing's going to go below 6, right? 5.5?
It's 5.5 offshore right now. If they get a good injury report, it could go back to 6, 6.5, but not 7. If it goes to 7, 7's coming back.